Hi, warning, this particular video shows the Horde timeline as well as the Alliance timeline, and it is very graphic. The Horde timeline is more difficult to watch than the Alliance if you are Alliance. So if you are faint of heart watching Night Elf Sentinels get poisoned, then you probably want to skip forward to about 2 minutes 20 seconds in this video. Thanks. And also there are spoilers, by the way. It's just my guess, but it could be spoilers for tomorrow's quest line on part 2 of War of Thorns. Thanks. Okay, WoW Soloist here, and this is my guesstimate as to what's going to happen tomorrow when the part 2 of War of the Thorns drops as to who burned Teldrassil. So my whodunnit, and definitely could be spoilers. And this is based on my view of looking at running both the Horde and the Alliance quest lines, and they don't match. So what you're looking at here is the Horde first quest in Astronar. You're working with a blood elf who talks about his brethren having attacked the other outposts in Ashenvale. And your quest from Sylvanas was to mark guards for him, not people, average people, just guards. And he will come in and poison those marked guards. So the quest is only for guards. You'll see in that building there was an ordinary citizen walking around. He has an interesting red mark over his head, but we didn't do that. And so he is not touched by this blood elf, as far as we know. However, Nobbel has a interesting theory in the guide to War of Thorns that's in Wowhead right now, and his theory, thanks to him, and I've put a shout out in the text below this, started to make sense now with me. So here he says you've sacked a city, but all you've really done is gotten rid of the guards. Now here's the Alliance timeline. Shortly thereafter, you arrive with the Night Elf army in Astronar, and everyone is dead. Not just the Sentinels, although she has you blessing fallen soldiers, which is interesting. There's no way to bless the civilians. They're just green pools here. But look who's here. A bunch of Forsaken assassins, and there's at least 20 or 30 of these guys that continue spawning throughout the whole city. Where did they come from? They're not in the Horde timeline. And as you see, these green pools, even up here, the leatherworking trainer is dead. All of the civilians are dead. All of the guards are dead. And the city is burning. Now, you'll note that these Forsaken assassins have some interesting lines. You know, death is the only way. Do you hear the screams with some kind of, lascivious tone, delight to their tone? No survivors. And clearly, you've already gone, and everyone is dead by the time that you come in and find all of these Forsaken assassins kicking around to kill, and they're still trying to kill you. The wisps are pouring out of town, and there's fire everywhere. So now the Horde timeline has an issue in that once you finish with the Blood Elf, you go see Sylvanas and Saurfang, who are riding right into town, and the town by that time is already empty and on fire, but no people. So obviously this Alliance timeline actually had to happen after you came through with the Belf, but before Saurfang and Sylvanas and the Horde army came in. And you have all of these Forsaken. So tying this back with Nobbel's idea of who burned the tree, how about the Desolate Council? Did the Forsaken Desolate Council, who took over Undercity from Sylvanas when they were jealous that she took on War Chief for the Horde, they decided that she wasn't babying them enough and she'd left them alone, and so they came and took over Undercity in her stead. Now, if they were, for example, corrupted by the old gods, who knows why else they would have done it? Perhaps to make Sylvanas look bad, perhaps to start a much bigger war. But they've set Sylvanas up here. They've killed civilians, which she didn't want to do. She wanted to decapitate the Night Elves, take out Malfurion, leave the Night Elves without hope so that they would give up with a minimal loss of life, take over Darnassus so that she could control the flow of Azerite to the Eastern Kingdoms. That's all she wanted. And as she says when she sees the tree burn, she says, I did not foresee this outcome. So she didn't do it. There's no way the Alliance did it. So, but it does make sense if there's some old god Nathoth. Now, possibly Ashara came in and did it. But it could be with these Forsaken that they did it. For example, you've got in the Horde army, I have not seen a Forsaken in that army. Not very many, if any. There's some Dark Rangers, but those are Night Elves, or not Night Elves, actually High Elves or Blood Elves that were turned when Sylvanas was turned. There are no Tauren that I've seen at all in the Horde army. There are Orcs, there are Goblins. And I saw one Troll once in a world quest after the main quest line. And that was an NPC. But other than that, it's Orcs and Goblins. So where did all of these Forsaken assassins come from and go to? They're not in the Horde quest line at all. So anyway, tomorrow we find out when they finally show the cinematic that's been hidden through beta and through PTR as to who burned the World Tree. But it sounds like something to do with the old gods, whether they're acting through the Forsaken or they're acting through Ashara. But yeah, that's my guess. WoW Soloist out, and we'll talk to you in a day or two.